Joining us now for insights on the Wisconsin school shooting, we have Greg Shaffer, the principal at the Active Shooter Prevention Project. Shaffer is also a retired supervisory special agent with the FBI and a former member of the FBI's elite hostage rescue team. Good to have you with us. And federal and local investigators are working to determine the shooter's motive. What will they be looking for, and how does an investigation like this typically take place?
Yeah, at this point in time in the investigation, they'll delve into the shooter's social media, the downloads that she did on her computer, different websites she searched into. They'll interview her parents, her classmates, her friends, and anybody who knew her to try to delve into, the motivation behind this. This pathway to violence didn't just happen overnight. It is a pathway. It can be interrupted with the right amount of counseling and people being aware of what's happening in that person's life. But they'll delve deeply into mostly her computer and find out if there's anything there that would indicate what prompted her to take these acts of violence.
Now, school shootings are reportedly on the rise. Why do you think that is?
Well, that's the $25,000 question, isn't it? We have to look at societal issues. We have to look at the fact that, back when I was in high school, we used to take rifles to our school. We go hunting both before and after school and have our lever action rifles hanging in the back of our trucks or in the trunk of our cars and park those vehicles in the parking lot. Those weapons were readily available and they were easily seen, yet we didn't have school shootings back in the 70s or even in the 80s. So we have to ask ourselves, what has changed in society, what has changed in our culture that would give us some answers to why these acts of violence are occurring. We need to look at everything from violent video games and movies to lack of church attendance to ADHD medication, and look at again why these are happening and societal reasons. It's not the gun's fault. It's not gun violence. It's a people violence problem. And I think if we have people really look into our culture and our society today, they'll recognize some of those pre-incident indicators of violence, because again, this is not happening everywhere in the world. It's predominantly happening here in the United States.
You've painted this picture that it's a multifaceted problem, and there have been multifaceted solutions put forward. What do you see as the ultimate solution to preventing school shootings?
Well, I think you said the right word there, is prevention. You looked at all the interviews yesterday on the shooting, and they were talking about how great the police response was. And I tip my hat to the police. The police response was excellent yesterday. But, we have to get off that mindset to think about how we increase our response. Is it important? Absolutely. But truth be told, once the police are responding to an active shooter event, we're already behind the curve there. Because if they're reacting to an active shooter event, that means shots have been fired and most likely people have been shot and killed. We need to focus on prevention. We need to focus on prevention. Let's prevent these acts from occurring. And when you do that, again, multifaceted, we need to get more parents involved. We need to increase the ratio of school counselors to students. The American Association of School Counselors recommends a ratio of 250 students for every one counselor. Well, that being said, the actuality is in America, the average is 480 students per counselor. So that needs to be changed so we can help identify those kids that are at risk, those kids that present a risk, and then get them the help that they need. We need to include AI in the security cameras that are all over school grounds. This AI and these security cameras, they can identify, recognize, and then notify when somebody pulls a weapon, a firearm, out of their locker, out of a backpack, out of the trunk of the car. Again, that puts us ahead of the curve where we can then lock down and protect our students before that first shot's fired. Because once those shots are fired, people are dying, then the police respond, and we're, again, too late.
Sadly, in this case, this recent case in Wisconsin and in so many others, people are really scratching their heads as to what could have been behind this. That disconnect between what people expect of a child and then their seemingly sudden turn of events, makes you wonder what could the community do differently, or what could parents do differently in your view?
Well, again, these people don't do these acts of violence, wake up that morning and decide they're going to kill somebody. They've been thinking about this, then planning it out, oftentimes for weeks, months, even sometimes longer. So there is that, like I said earlier, a pathway to violence. So parents, teachers, counselors, friends, they just need to be on the lookout for those, pre-incident indicators. Are they downloading things they shouldn't be looking at? Are they looking at, buying weapons or ammunition, or are they looking at violent videos? Are they researching past incidents to find out how they were caught, or what they did right, what they did wrong, how to increase that body count? So there are a lot of things that people do before they commit these acts of violence. Parents, teachers, counselors, and friends just need to be aware of those. And then if you see something, obviously you say something. And then once it's reported, then we need that threat assessment team to come in and to look at, is this person a true threat to themselves or to others? Do they have the capacity to get access to firearms? Are there firearms in the house? Have they purchased firearms in the past? Do they have any kind of training? So again, see something, say something, and then once you see something and say something that gets reported, those threat assessment teams need to come in and do a good job and decide whether or not this person's a true threat.
Now, lastly, Greg, is there anything in your active shooter prevention project that you'd like viewers to know about and what you teach there?
Sure. At the ASPP, we have partnered with over 20 firms that specialize in violence prevention. Everybody from, again, AI and cameras to a window film that it looks like a window tint, but it becomes a ballistic window. It can stop a baseball bat, a hammer. It can even stop 9mm rounds from entering and going through the glass. So we have ballistic film. We have doors that are ballistic. We have people who can come in and train and do tabletop exercises for all the teachers and all the staff on how to respond and how to identify this pathway to violence. So again, at the ASPP, over 20 firms that we have partnered with that can stop this pathway to violence, can help us identify those threats and risks and mitigate those before the actual shooting occurs. Because like I said, once the police respond to an active shooter event, it's already too late. People have been shot. People are probably dying. We need to prevent these attacks from happening.
Good to speak with you, Greg. Thank you so much for your time today.